Welcome to another issue of this year's Ephemeropteræ. This time I'm very happy to introduce two people to whom I have a really personal attachment. It's Vit Havránek, who is a curator, author, and artistic mind, I have to say, and my colleague for many years, who is based in Prague, and Babi Badalov, who is a poet and artist. And yeah, we will start with Vit.
Okay, so good evening. I have some reading to do tonight. I prefer to actually write it down, even though it's not a proper text, so it's a kind of improvisation in between reading and talking, and it concerns two subjects. Something must be ill in the field of art, it seems to me. First, diagnosis. What is it? Are institutions rotten? It doesn't look like. They are more and bigger and bigger. MoMA New York built a new building. Tate Modern just opened an extension. Abu Dhabi, small institutions, artist spaces flourish. So many private galleries. Are relations in the art field pathological? Not on the first view. Take a plane and fly to Venice, Moscow, Gwangju, Basel, London, Kuwait, Peking, Ljubljana. Art crowd seems to be extremely well-looking multitude of various nationalities, ethnics, genders, sometimes even representative of lower classes spice the conversation. The field is inhabited by most antagonistic subjects and groups one can imagine. Rich oligarchs and tycoons, wealthy businessmen, freaks, middle-class petit bourgeois art historians, curators, artists, communists, ambitious academics, marginals, bums, celebrities, lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transsexuals, workers, narcissists, etc., etc. It's like a small model of social diversity conceived on purpose. Also, the art doesn't produce something like a palpable model of diversity, which may serve as the model for the exterior, for the outside society, except in its meaning reactionary statements like everything goes. Are values of the art field perverted, deviated, immoral? One would say that art field was a typically liberal crowd since beginning of the 19th century, allowing various individuals and discriminated minorities to find, at least, a less conflictual social refugee from other omnipresent normativity of society of control. Are ill the last instance, the artist, or is it art that is ill? Privileged status of an artist in the current institutional rhetorics is a pure hypocrisy. Artist privileges in the system are due to their relations and judgments in relation with rich or powerful people, and to the socially aware or critical artist institution offer budget as ransoms, and then hides its own imperial bureaucratical functionality and ambition behind a socially responsible art project. To be ill means to feel the pain, or being dysfunctional, elements of bodies that unfolds in various stages of dysfunctionality or functionality. Or ill means to have the symptoms that for empirical reasons serve as signs of material events taking place elsewhere in the body. That's how illness sees European medicine. People suffer, not only refugees, but poor, ill, unhappy, oppressed people suffer. Shall not art take part in the suffering of people, and isn't it a symptom if it doesn't? People are happy, not only rich, but also owners, healthy, powerful, winners of battles, etc. Shall not art take part in the happiness of people, and isn't it a symptom if it doesn't? In the society of control, it is the subject that feels the pain, that searches the medicine or the doctor, not the other way around. society of surveillance may be internalized by its subject. The subjects survey themselves. First example I wanted to speak about is a work, is an artistic work of Goran Trbuliak. I will send you the image. It is a photography where on the photography we see a poster with a text written in capitals. Artist en crise, 1981. It's written in French, and in English it means Artist in Crisis 1981. In 1981, Goran Trbuliak proclaimed in retrospective the years from 1970 until 1981 to be a period of crisis. On the photography, we see two hands of artists laying on the poster. His hands can be understood like a validation of the statement by the presence of the artist's hands as parts of the body that in artistic practice create a sign of a signature. Or it can be seen in relation with the statement. The viewer come to know that artist in crisis shows his empty hands inactively laying on the table. Thus the period of crisis, here written from 1970 until 1981, concerns the art field or it concerns the artist. In the history of art, we can distinguish signs of crisis, and these signs are of different appearance and intensity. Like, for example, art strikes. Most notorious is Duchamp's disapproving approach to the creative labor. Maurizio Lazzarato, in the text called Marcel Duchamp and the Refusal of the Work, sees his approach in relation with the workers' movement, like Potere Operai or Autonomismo and similar movements, that by refusal of work rejected the capital attempt to appropriate labor power and couple it as an abstraction with unlimited planning of growth. Lazzarato says that Duchamp was in between the first that understood that the society of control, starting to outline on the beginning of 20th century, especially advanced in the sphere of art, that art as institution, art in social meaning of the world, doesn't represent a promise of emancipation. That's what he says, Lazzarato, that art in social meaning of the world doesn't represent a promise of emancipation, but on contrary, it constitutes a new technique of governing the subjectivity. And he continues a bit further. Capitalist action finalized by the production of always more money doesn't have only economic effects. It stirs up a sensibility, because to perceive and to feel are functions of action. Action of laziness situates itself on the antipode of this action, for which the aim meaning the money, is everything and the process is nothing. The process literally doesn't exist because it doesn't produce any money. The laziness, on contrary, is all concentrated on the process, on becoming of the subjectivity and capacity to act. That was the quote of Lazzarato about Duchamp. Duchamp denotes that for act differently, one has to live differently, and that such an action in capitalism cannot resource itself in work, but in its refusal that leads to another ethic and anthropology. Duchamp consciously stated that his critique of labor and time may sound as version of communism, but in the same time he proclaimed to be born and living within the existing world order, that was capitalism. He refused to call himself being a communist or being a kind of proponent of communism. As well, hardly he could be labeled a dandy. Duchamp imagined to found the Hospice des Grands Paresseux, which means a special institution for big lazy or old lazy people, or let's say adult lazy people, or orphelinat des petits paresseux, meaning a small kindergarten for small lazy people, where it would be forbidden to work. The artwork must be produced slowly, he says. I don't trust in the speed that capitalism introduced into the sphere of right. Second example is an image or is an artwork from 1933, and it's titled Demonstration of Paintings. Demonstration of Paintings is a painting, and it confronts us with another kind of crisis. It is a crisis of social art in relation to the social reality, which is deeply experienced by politically radical Polish artist Vladimir Borowski. At his paintings, we see a group of three young men, maybe workers or office workers, or maybe also artists, holding in their hands the paintings depicting a body of dead or wounded worker and another social scenery. One of the men is holding a simple amplifier and speaks inside, like on the demonstration. Painting was made during the Great Depression in the 1930s, and what it reacts on is not visible. It is the brutal existential and social misery. On the other hand, it is a refusal of the old-fashioned petit bourgeois way of artistic display and art consumption. Despite the fact that it is a classical painting, canvas in wooden frame, it proposes a radically new way of display. The new display rejects the capture of art by the wall or by the white cube beyond the couch of rich or middle-class salon. The rule of strike is, if agents of production stop, then production stops. Here two meanings unfold. While workers and artists are on demonstration, their production stops. They cannot paint anymore and demonstrate in the same time. It stops because the demonstration of paintings is more urgent than production of paintings. It is a conception of art that during the demonstration superordinate social being of art to the production of social art. Demonstration on the street related to the strike is not only a sign of crisis, but in the same time a demonstration of force of powerless. It is an image that returns to the only one moment, to the revolution, when masses gathered on the city squares and changed the course of history. Any demonstration contains a grain, a peaceful reminder for ruling class of this obvious fact. While speaking here about Duchamp's conception of time, of life, we cannot miss two artists that bring us to the detour to speak about laziness. Kazimir Malevich wrote a text titled Laziness as the Truth of Mankind, where he states or where he says, laziness is the mother of all vices, which is how the collective wisdom of humanity and all peoples has branded this particular style of human activity. He also says, so, in order to escape death, man has brilliantly come up with a life form in which all must work and no one is allowed to be a bum. That's the reason that the socialistic system, it's a text from 1921, so it of course reacts on both conception of work, of labor. He knew how is the labor under capitalism, and in the same time he knew at the time how was the labor under socialism. That's the reason that the socialistic system that leads to communism, struggling against all previous systems, brings all of humanity into the single way of labor and leaves behind all bums. This is the meaning of the most pitiless of all laws in the most human of all systems. He who doesn't work doesn't eat. This is also why the communist system prosecutes capitalism, because the capitalist encourages the bum, and because the ruble definitely leads to laziness. So in the socialist system, God's curse, labor, receive the highest blessing. Under the blessing of communism, everyone gets to work, otherwise they starve. Here I would connect with another text closely related to this Kazimir Malevich text, and it's a text of Mladen Stilinovic. that is a direct indirect relation, that is written in direct relation, and that was written in the 1990s. The title of the text is The Price of Laziness, and Mladen Stilinovic states, "My observation and knowledge of Western art has recently led me to the conclusion that art cannot exist in the West anymore. This is not to say that there is not any. Why can art not exist anymore in the West? The answer is simple. Artists in the West are not lazy. Artists from the East are lazy. Whether they will stay lazy now that they are no longer Eastern artists remains to be seen. Artists in the West are not lazy and therefore not artists, but rather producers of something. Their involvement with matters of no importance, such as production, promotion, the gallery system, the museum system, the competition system, etc., their preoccupation with objects, all that drives them away from laziness, from art. Just as money is but paper, a gallery is but a room. And obviously, this is the question I have to ask on place of the art institutions, art workers, theorists and artists. Will artists in non-existing Eastern Europe stay lazy under too big temptation? Temptation of social utility represented by money and fame, temptation of money pure that represent the value of singularity of the subject represented by the signature of the artwork or on the artwork or on the certificate attributed to its very singularity by the market. And most far, will artists in Eastern Europe and anywhere else beyond the West stay lazy under the pressure of alarming presentism that is even artificially accelerated? Such a regard may sound outdated, revisionist, old-fashioned. Situated in the period of post-communism, when the matter of the struggle was in between neoliberal democratic capitalism and versions of transitory socialisms. But are we elsewhere today? Let's look as an example most recent project of Maria Eichhorn, titled 5 Weeks, 25 Days, 175 Hours, April-May 2016, Chisenhale Gallery in London. I quote now from the press release of this exhibition. At the heart of the project is a belief in the importance of questioning work, and I will send you the image of the work. At the heart of the project is a belief in the importance of questioning work, of asking why, within our current political context, work is synonymous with production, and if, in fact, work can also consist of doing nothing. Eichhorn's conceptual gesture is an implicit critique of institutional production and broader neoliberal patterns of consumption. But it is also an artwork that deals with ideas of displacement of the artist's labor and the artwork as work. The work is constituted not in the empty gallery, but in the time given to the staff and what they choose to do with it. This commission presents multiple opportunities for audience engagement, from attending the symposium to contributing to conversations that will develop around the work. Eichhorn's project directly comforts audience expectation of the artist, the artwork and the gallery. It is an artwork that exists as an idea in the public realm, operating by generating discourse rather than through objects or images. As you may know, this work consisted of closure of the gallery for this very precise time, and the employees were sent on holidays. They were asked not to work anymore, and what was the most beautiful, I think, that there was an automatic answer in the email that all the emails that come at this very period will not be answered but will be destroyed. And I think this was the most beautiful moments, this answer of distractions of the emails. In the same time, I think we can feel from the press release very strong need to legitimize and to legitimize actually the fact that the employees will do nothing and the public will not see anything. Now I will shift completely, and I will tell you another story. It's a story of, it's a historical example, a story related to an institution of mental health that started to work in France. It was called Clinique de la Borde. It was a mental hospital that started as a project from on the green land, so to say. There was a psychiatrist. His name was Jean Oury. He worked in another mental hospital called Saint Alban under influence of a school of antipsychiatric specialists. And at certain moment, he decided to leave with certain patients this hospital. And he was searching. He was traveling like nomad, and he was searching for a place that would welcome a group of mentally ill people. And he found a place called Clinique de la Borde. And this what I will read you are kind of excerpts of different texts. There are statements of Jean Oury himself, the founder of this project, and also there are statements of from a book written by a French author philosopher, Emmanuelle Rosier, and she devoted a book of 400. It was her doctor thesis, her book to the history and to the procedures of this clinic. At the first year, this clinic that also later on employed Félix Guattari, famous psychoanalyst and co-author with Gilles Deleuze of Anti-Oedipus and other books, was this clinic, this site was sometimes called a circus and or a communist commune, and what actually happened in 1953, the employees of the hospital decided that they have to change completely the structure of the institution itself. Why? It was a, as they say, very pragmatic decision. They were just observing actually that the procedures of the mental hospitals cause a bigger, higher, more intense alienation of the patients that if they would not be in the hospital. So a simple comparison showed that actually patients inside the institutions, traditional mental institutions, suffer much more and doesn't reach such results, hearing results, like if they are staying, so to say, out of the hospitals. So as they state both, it was very pragmatic beginnings. They said that they have to stick with two ideas: democratic organization of the institutions and effective therapy. That was the starting point. First year they decided to create a constitution, so to say. So they wrote their own institutional rules. It was a private institution, private organization, and this constitution had 3 lines around which it developed. First was status precarity. So they decided to actually cancel or destroy a permanent relation or determination in between a person and a task, a function in the institution. So they decided that people actually employed in the institution will rotate and will change the functions systematically, not only the first year, but systematically during their years. Second line of the constitution was variation of tasks, so to say, something that is included in the first one, and systematic analysis of double alienation. That is something that I will explain a little bit later. Disruption of one of the factors of collective alienation for the question of this clinic was or were money. They decided on flat salaries with 2 coefficients. As I said, it was decided by democratic vote in the institution, so there was a flat salary for everyone, and these 2 coefficients consisted in the amount of material work, and the second coefficient was responsibility. And both of these coefficients were established by General Assembly. Organigram. As they say, hierarchical structure was not attacked and redeemed immediately, but it was at the first step replaced by polycentric structure, as Jean Oury says, that the people could take the responsibilities. they developed a system, so to say, of this polycentric structure through what they called clubs. So they founded different substructures that were completely independent from the institution itself, and these as they call it, clubs, were independent in budgets, but also in the organization, management, hierarchy, direction, etc. And it was often case that they were governed by the patients themselves. One of them, for example, was a theater place. Second one was a work with animals. Based on the simple idea that institutional relations of the Clinique de la Borde can treat. So the idea of the institution was that it's not the treatment itself, but on the first place it's institutional relation that treat. This point of departure has been a vanishing point while reconstructing an institution from a 0 point. Clinique de la Borde was by some people dubbed a communist utopia or insane circus. What's crucial here is not an a priori social determinism that launched the desire, but an active collective that will attenuate the pain. These are quotes from these two texts. Toskeles, who was who was a teacher of Jean Oury, and Jean Oury observed a sort of double alienation performed by existing form of institution of mental health. It was a psychopathological alienation that takes place on the level of the individuum. But there is a second one. It is an alienation from the social reality executed by the current institution that redouble the original one. Proper matter of the institutional therapy is to make out of the institutional everyday its piloting the center of the therapy. As Jean Oury stressed out, it's inseparable while speaking about institutional therapy, not to speak about psychosis. Its inseparability concerns the theory. In particular, Jean Oury says, our aim is that the organization can keep the vector of singularity. Each user has to be taken in consideration in its personality the most singular way, from which derives an internal paradox. To institute collective systems and, in the same time, preserve the singular dimensions of each person. It was in this junction that our notion of collective was situated. Famous sociologist Erving Goffman defined mental illness as far from being a state, but rather being a career, accumulation, trajectory of social stigmas, liable to be deconstructed publicly in sequences approved progressively. So Goffman saw mental illness not as a kind of binded with the body and with the psyche of a singular person, but mainly as a kind of social sign that is projected on the person that is mentally ill, and this projection causes very much also a destiny and the social trajectory of mentally ill people. Actions are leaded while searching to activate the double effect, a term of Thomas Aquinas, an action having for most part good but also negative effect. He used this idea of double effect while describing that we do something good, but in the same time we can cause a kind of small bad to somebody. So they used while in the institutional therapy this idea of double effect. The example could be, for example, feeding the horse. Feeding the horse can be in the same time something very practical, because a horse needs to be fed, he's hungry, but in the same time, of course, there is a therapeutic line that this activity engages, and there is kind of unconscious part of transfer that in the same time is happening while this process of feeding a horse is happening. They very much stick with one field that is quite interesting. It's called praxeology. It's a science of acting effectively. It was a movement in the philosophy that related the ideas with acts, with activity, with practicality, and it's a bit forgotten today. It's a bit forgotten field, but I think it could be also of interest for actually cultural organizations. Then there were very much thinking about the idea of help. And they stressed that there are two kinds of two views on what help to the other could be. There is an objective help, for example. So this means that one person helps to make realize a thing, that this thing happen. And there is a subjective help. It can be a help that Josef or Rosa realizes an aim, and we help to this aim. So again, it's a kind of two-folded view on one action. One action can unfold in different layers, in different activities. And this was very much the matter of praxeology of this philosophical approach. Then they speak about a term that was introduced by Roland Barthes, and the term is called idiorythmy. Idiorythmy is a signification that there is a whole, and this whole divides in parts, and each part can run on its proper rhythm. So the unit or the whole actually consists of different parts that are running under different rhythms, and this so to say unity seems from outside point of view completely idiotic, as Barthes says, but in the same time this idiorythmy gives sense when you look at the particular parts of this unity. And here of course we speak about this unity of institutional therapeutical institution. The work means to fill a gap in between prescribed and effective. And how to fill this gap cannot be predicted. The route must be run through by the subject from prescribed to the real, and it must be always invented or discovered by the subject how this gap will be overcome. There is a question of transfer also, of transfer that in the psychoanalysis or in the psychological any psychiatrical relation, and this transfer can be also seen in the image that the doctor is talking, and while doctor is talking, this makes actually patient to keep him silent. So it can be a kind of negative transfer in this sense. For Uri to think the mental illness is placed under a sign of a major threat. Its reification, making kind of this illness to be an object or to be a thing. The people as well as the concept must stay in permanent circulation, open to possible modification of their relations to the senses. In the psychosis, manifestation of humanity. Is it a manifestation of humanity? Is it a manifestation of human being? So here I end with this excursion to the institutional therapy, and I would like to resume a little bit. The question is, of course, that crosses our minds. What is the relation of the institutional therapy to the institutional critique that was announced, to the art institution, and what is the relation to the examples I was speaking about on the beginning? As Andrea Fraser put it already in 2005, institutional critique was institutionalized, but it's needed more than ever. She reacts on certain critiques of institutional critique, saying, of course, it was eaten by the museum, it was commodified, etc. She brings the thesis that institutional critique was always, as other avant-garde movements, part of the institutional art, as well as Dada, Surrealism, and other avant-garde artistic practices that criticized and proposed to change art from inside. Institutional critique succeeded as art movement, but failed as a critique of the institutions. That's why, if the line of resistance doesn't disappear in capitalistic normopathy, in brackets, has turned its attention into direction to elaborate a future project. On the one hand, to the art practices that regard art as a symptom of the art institution, that are ill and must be treated. These were, for example, some of the examples of the crisis that I brought in the beginning. On the other hand, to the institutions that were revolutionary in relation with its subject, with his own employees and structures, recognizing that it's something invisible that treats. What treats are the relations. And then I would like just to read you very shortly at the end few sentences that I kind of recuperate from the texts of the institutional therapy and transfer them in the questions. How to prevent inside a cultural institution alienation caused by money? Question mark. How to prevent intercultural and social alienation of a museum and gallery caused by money? Question mark. What organigram to sketch that people in contemporary art institution could take the responsibilities? Question mark. Art institution shall not be a well-organized apparatus of time occupation, but a real social life. How to avoid to be the first? Question mark. Is the contemporary art institution an active collective that will attenuate the symptoms of the institutional crisis? Question mark. Is the alienation caused by white cube isolation from social life setup still desirable? Question mark. Proper matter of the new contemporary art institution is to make out the institutional everyday, the relation between art, employees, public, contents, theory, and its piloting the center of its mission. It's inseparable while speaking about new art institution not to speak about artistic practices. It's impossible to show Dada exhibition inside a bureaucratically driven museum. Goffman defined perception of art as far from being a state, but rather being a carrier, trajectory of social habits, liable to be deconstructed publicly in sequences, approved progressively. There is not a collaboration if there is not a common aim. Too many collaboration of institutions that have very different aims. It causes a corruption of collaborations as well as aims. Refuse collaboration when the aim is not completely same. The aim of collaboration is not act effectively but together. Collaboration creates possibilities to take the speech, construct and reconstruct the art and its sense in the intersubjective relation. To work means to fill in a gap in between prescribed and effective, and how to fill this gap cannot be predicted. The route that must be run through by the subject from prescribed to the real must be always invented or discovered by the subject. Idiorythmy. The whole consists of parts, or where each subject has its own proper rhythm. To welcome means to welcome their personal experiences of proper body. Thank you.
I read some my poem, some old and some also new. Later. These poems I write when I was in refugee. No, I was. I want to be refugee in England, but I was unsuccessful, and my claim was refused, and there was many things happened. I was deported, and that time I want to. I don't speak very good English, and I want to learn English, and I was only speaking more or less better Russian. So here is these poems which mix in languages and which it's absolutely free poesy for me. I try to read. В Гааге судооборотность, процессорность, владелец неба на юге, Англия владелец неба, Шотландия, владелец неба покровительных, вещество кропаченцных, умно-ноябрьских, умно-пораженических слов. It is wonderful, as Nina, she is going amazing artist. New ring cycle, addition, time he lost his voice, and after he went to doctor. As it was like you have no time for Mercy Tower. At the end, only opera 2010. Good, we must finish now. I am working every day. I am going to beach. God knows was this switch, my computer. I still had one at end of the day. It is If still so, I am rest. You are good boy. Your father, little man, who will let me talk in. I should document only 7 day, Monday like full-time job. I want to talk you about windy bouncings. At least just cross vibration make possible. She not cheating, looks normal, healthy secretary. Alan Johnson, financial chance, current credit, shadow chancellor, George Osborne. If you stand this operation, how much between когда откок городские, откок когда Hillary Clinton war is going on, Barack Obama 7 minutes to 8, Gordon Brown, Zimbabwe, the bug issue, the agenda crisis, Somali displaced person, that kind of knowledge, would you say, particular place? He was happy that kind, Sally Archie. Do have his psychical chicane not difficult deep in night, like a rival with hand a little spray, mocking color ray. Мерцаемостью, скоро симательностью, словно стыкаемостью, собранно, читаемо, слизованно, сетообразно, миродумно, московско сказочно, техноманиакально, сторонаясь, силодумно, силоваясь, уселся, уселеменно, будоражаясь, Степашин, силопассивно, мониторно, сетообразно, слизованно, читаемо собранно, силоваясь, силодумно, стороняясь, техноманикально, будоражаясь, уселемленно, уселся. Шли люди, разбивая сердце, небо умирает, когда мы ложимся спать. Облака двигаются, когда мы ходим. У меня на левых пальцах 2 серебряных кольца. Меня зовут 8, и у меня 2 головы. Меня 4 мысли на верхнем голове, 4 мысли на ногах. Вчера, сегодня, завтра на цифрах. Дождь начинается, скручивается пауки. 4 угол комната паукизирован. За окном чайки голуби. Паук по имени Томоко Такахаши. 1 августа 2007 года Кардифф. Засохший, забитый заранее, спасение дорого. Полосы, страусы, николаевские слова. Немногие помнят. Мака сама мака, апатия, мапорана, сандера. Рубашка ночной некопира. Тпе, самодора, мальдивские. Мегафизика. Included, interpreted, high quality. Strasbourg, биомедикало, бототательность. Страсбург, биомедикало, оботательность. Страсбург, биомедикало, оботательность. Страсбург, биомедика, оботательность. Sacramento, Kuala Lumpur, equality, fireman. Sacramento, quality, equality, fireman. Sacramento, Kuala Lumpur, equality, fireman. Желтые, жестокие, жесткие листья. Желтоглазые, жестокие, жесткие глаза. Скорейшее исполнение, прямолинейное, скомкованные, переисполненные, прямолинейные. Белобарток, Бартоломео, берег морской, берег океанной, собеседник у окна, лицом к стене. Буква И, буква Я, индийская музыка. Сломанная амбрелла после дождя, умерший паук. Сломанный Томас Манн, амбрелла Ансельм Кифер. Меня зовут задавленный паук. Мою правую руку плечо сломал армянский водитель. Меня зовут паук. Сегодня 13 паука 2007 года. Уставшие, меланхолические, странные, серебряные, качественная, абсурдная, свободная, пишущая рука, успеваемость, театрально, странно, занавесно, успеваемость, разновидимость, сожаленная, иностранное правило нарушения, железная дорога протяжаемостью твоих словосочетания, оборудования театра, зрители ритмичные, 17-19 паука, город Бристол, облака меняющиеся, люди на глазах, самые слабые люди тоже похожи на облака. Меня зовут Сэм, я иду справа налево, меня зовут Шест, стеснителен с большим животом, меня зовут Пят, счастливен, идущий головой поднятым, меня зовут 4, слой, сильно геометричен, меня зовут 3, жажды поцелуя всегда, меня зовут 2, злой, курю сигарет, идя по улице, меня зовут 1, одинок, раньше всех я, пересловление, Югословения, Северословения, албанизирование, долина языков, ублаживание слов сероводородная, аспекты неореализму, маловажностью, окончание дождя, разговора, стуки капля, на голове, на плечах, на руках, на ногах, кусочек голубого неба. Original music between people and water world. Above the water we hear talking people slap of waves, darkness, and animal lives. There are crying, there are water, most beautiful we need. Маленькие игрушки, старые книги. У окна Марчелло Мастериани, итальянский сумасворот, белый пешеход. У белой стены две стороны сказка. Желтолица, зеркало молчания, ветер внутри старой рамки, сверхурочные злые мысли, дизайнер, отрицающий вчерашнее время соседнего целенаправленности. Сперва столкновения, тема столкновения, стирая упавшие мокрые обусловленности. What action take Church of England? A little bit we accepted without independent and rather encouraging. We are focusing about child archbishop. We have policy. We have been adopted compassion. Взгляд, скворец, смерть брата, слезы, дождь, старые буквы, желтые буквы, наивен, изнутри западен, шумен, испуган, атака, динамичен, мешающие средневековые целообразен. Can I different combination could whole question the rhythm you can find? My perfection piece in term more included most basic from work connected something about elephant music making harmonic same time not quite obviously extra large more recent stream seems to understand directed just same pattern spent. Socrates United.co.uk, MySpace, MyRace.co.uk, Tori Amos Topman Shopping Center, Tori Amos Амоко Филиппини, уставшие, представшие радиоспекуляция, трендикуализм, трендомодернизм, Порто-Пуэрто-Носно, Белоруссия, велосипедный завод, Белоруссия of time, Charles Saatchi on bicycle, Kappa, Kana, turbulent effort suitable. Старая машина, тупые, теплые руки, слабые люди, железные вороты, столетний снимок, Роман словоед, пожирающий изумруд, прошедший день, 24 часа дождь, сырая комната, водопад, слововорот, словотечение, замерзшие они взглядом картина, сентиментальность, физический взгляд, ураган. Сопугерекулянностью Сильвеппо покромевел, постеническим склоняясь, муранты стерековыми, километрно протестянно, тепло дородно, упаковечно, поезденно, полагательно, а не соминистично, сложненно, оработанично, переходили километренными, порошенными шагами, упражненно ступая, промоченно, шлагбаумно, стереновенно, некосвенно, будосмеленник, упоколебляясь, при остановленном покое, мирекатично сколдуванна, термоядерянная, епикопсна, сего демон мониторинатна, макина натурализм, Сфонкберг, мартовский черносветила, прогоняясь по перешанным, пильном туманоядном, Серена Боливар, Адамстаун, Ханс Ульбрис Обиспо, Энон Сиамелон, Ташаблон, я шью твою имя, Ташаблон, ищу слова Ханс маленький, рыбак, слова за словами, прямо, по горизонту звучит музыкальная шкатулка, енон системно сосорно, я ищу пальцами чувства потерянных еженедельных. By Berlin, quite something now attended, возмущаясь воздержанным, рассерженным, повернулся прямоходно October 29, 2007. Cardiff, flat 550, 24-1, другий, тянущийся велосипедист на Чернобережье, мертвая машина, засыпана, машина песком, машина снотворна, деревянная машина, металличен, сказочно, многодоступчета, красный день, спонтанность, наука, религия, смерть, город, прошедший день темноты, коробка, квадратное окна, feeling, conducting, it is 1 o'clock, Schiller, Schumann, Charlotte Bronte, we are going involved with Turkish community in Berlin. I love Benjamin Britten, Mr. Early Music, last year's открытость, библиотека, каждому благополучно, здоровительно, место, буквы, муравейник, несогласность, под угрозой сердцебиения, специальность, по параметрическим послушаниям музыка, прозябаемость, долгожданность падая, прошаясь, останавливаясь, опрашиваясь, задерживаясь, прошедшаясь, день календаря, последний лист, свеча горящий, между комнатой темнота, лунной ночи территориальность, искусство, ведательность, абсолютная способность, which our violent, definitely composer, particularly having come along so much personality, Kafka it is form wonderful, snapshot as Sally Potter, here is Coliseum, CCTV, Don Jose behind for resist, alert, escape, Edward Gardner, Бизе, Кармен, слушая, падая, спасая, скрываясь, исторически, самопознанность во времени и психолога одностороннего развиваемость контекст. Вертикальных, деревообразных, словетных, панорамно рассыпаясь, Ханс обиспо, скоромодно каллиграфично, стояла у входа пещеренно, на боис измерялно, карубанна сеголяяс Ханс убиспо Ханс Брехт Эхтимолотин, Хевинский неожиданно, неонно алгометаллистка, ситочно искривляясь, суфолкомо тентично, оконно, мировездно, голубо покроено, мясо диковинно, воинствен, мировид Мережковский, потеряя пелосердечностью, мировид Мережковская, Скандина вскоре, на Корейском полуострове, рядом дом пещерный, скалолаз лемонитно, кто пессиметрично взглядывал из-под скалы Турмониназ, незамеченно мечом над головой, волками стаями, обгоревшим пустынями, телу пещера замерзано лежая. Ведь may we continue? I have many poems, but I can be endless. Do I continue with discuss?
Well, as you want, I think it would be good if you
Continue, please.
read the English poems.
Ah, yes.
You know,
These poems I call is very secretly poem. I cannot tell all this of how I am writing. Yes, of course you write poet, but I have. Firstly, I say this is anti-inspiration poetry. Anti-inspiration, and this is predict poetry. This is poetry is a whole of a project I will do for my exhibition next year, and included multimedia were part of this project. And this is, I told you that I will not tell you how I am writing this poetry, but this is anti-inspiration poetry, and this is in English. All day things that makes me think great, vigilant, their own, was not too late. For me, it is same but with good memories. You try to be a small matter, subject when it comes, question madness of old Borde racism. How it is so much better than I am even more wish to go to see my changes. History of first two meanings. The first visit of construction on star for the world is in motion. What as course today is too cute my love is. The global wave of politicians are always easier, coming suddenly, fortunately, provides ours, Jean, single, always. The new machine is high definition, in situation difficult, but too, the world is to be long history. Good analysis, refugees that the others are not yet Middle East, left side others, world impossible. Need all play on the home page world. Come to pick me up. A small addition to this long had said that she wanted to. Collective in lateral, not only what I was, used to, leave me, tomorrow night, supposed, Miranda, Mirinda. Ah, good, why not? A casualty has crazy madness. I want to fold the refugees in this category are always easier, but believed world cannot be sucks. Bill, we are all 2 weeks. Believe that wants nevertheless to breaking up. Hey Maurice, revolution is a sharehold error in the Sunfield Debussy predictions window. For myself more, from time to time, real tools for a week. Next time you have, send me a message to take pleasure can. You have to be a big day with my account and mystery of the weekly increasing next to please. The religion that taken, mixtaken, fisherman, youth generation, Dostoevsky. I am possessive, dependent on form, but I do not know why. It is always my picture day and night. I opened my eyes window. On half of his favorite browsers, chain cinematic, time, life story, that I am not still obviously on drop in. Suffered for others that communications between them not even saw your message. I am en route to what is a Palermo. Blank, blonde, blind, automatically. People are acting. I cannot read because it's visual. You must see this like this the word sometimes I make visual like Taur minaret, generous legacy. The way if you want to come eat with us tomorrow morning, military stuffiness. That is all the less expensive elements. The pain that bring in the sense how much more simple for me. This below infinitely sky cloud sharing with my mother sky, please excuse me. Revolted note, remained in the framework too. Lion, derived, necklace. We see things like that air. All day things that makes me think great, vigilant their own, was not too late for me. It is same but with good memories. I think I am repeating, no? Yes, I think I'm repeating. No, it's just finished. I can read. If you like, I can read few short poems from mixed languages. Also, I like with Vit we speak about my poetry. Vit? Yes. We can speak with you.
So I prepared the short questionnaire for Babi. I have some questions to ask him. So Babi, what is your name? Is Babi Badalov a pseudonym or is it your real name?
Babi is my short name. My real name is Babi is my short name. Is my real name is very long and very old village name in very like maybe 200 years ago, this was actual, but this word is, this name is not used in Azerbaijan anymore. It's called Baba Khan.
Why did you
I don't change, but my short I made that more easy because when I born in Soviet Union, communist period, and in small village where was the things like
my second question, where are you coming from?
so I am born in small village near Iran border in Soviet time. There, for example, in Soviet time of ethic of society, they compare for now that there was openly discrimination, openly racist things was normal. So if I say I am from this village, my name is Baba Khan, that's the for capital Azerbaijan, it means like this person is only person from this village only can be in bazaar selling vegetable or will be shepherd. So this was because by name.
Coming from the mountains.
Yes, because by name they openly discriminate, and in TV and comedian can очень very racist of
What's the name of the village?
lyric. I am born in minority of ethnic minority. My father Azerbaijan, my mother is very small ethnic, mostly live in Iran or North Iran, and this is the Wikipedia. They write one of oldest languages, oldest ethnic, which still surviving without any of state, and
What is the name of it?
Talish. And language is very much like Farsi, and but not also like Farsi.
But you live today in Paris, and how it comes that you live in Paris?
I am a refugee in Paris, 8 years. I was asking to be refugee in United Kingdom. It was unsuccessful, and I was deported. I come back again, and I have get granted refugee 8 years in France.
You lived in Russia also before?
I used to live in Russia, and because still most time I think in Russian, but generally what I was reading in my poetry in beginning, my poems, my whole writing based on what is be victim of language, because I don't speak any language fluently. I cannot write any language fluently, because all languages I have been, because of moving my body, and I have not any language. If I read English, I should translate in Google Russian. In Russian, sometimes I don't understand. I must ask my friend. French, very broken. My mother language, I don't speak for many years. I very, very miss. But I think I know this language very good. Yes, I think I know. I love very much. Azerbaijani language, I speak very strange. It's like Turkish. They say, where you come from? After, when I speak Azerbaijan, I say, you, because my village accent lost. And not in Azerbaijani accent, very strange accent. They cannot understand what region this accent, very strange accent. So I become like a victim of all these all languages, and I don't have any skill of any of languages.
So what is language for you? How would you describe a language?
Language, as refugee, I think first of suffer of being refugee, of a trauma, trauma is by language, because when you don't, when you want to speak, explain, you cannot explain. You get very stressed, and you can never joke. You can never make gossip or other thing, in use bad word and good word. So you get very suffer. And I have three times of this happen. When I was taken to military in Soviet time, is obligatoire. I was not speaking in Russian because I born in village. Who was born in capital Azerbaijan? Everybody speak Russian. The opposite. They refuse to speak Azeri. They language like bourgeois, like Russian, like this. But I was not speaking Russian. I know a few words. And in army was very difficult. I was writing banner Soviet for, and there was translator, Russian guy, and he was look my, not make mistake. I make often mistake. I know I also make mistake. So after I went to St. Petersburg, I very like Dostoevsky, and I was reading book Dostoevsky, pretending that I understand all, but in real I don't understand. So and I after England, I was in Cardiff seeking asylum. I was went to the no border with anarchist people in a meeting. I sit no understand. I all very stressed. Yeah, speak. I just like this.
Your work, is it poetry, or is it visual poetry, or is it visual, or is it what is it?
There is a several of where I explain of several aspects of my work. The mainly I call them visual poetry because I am drawing letters. I am drawing of words. I am visualizing word. I bring of my several of my etage of my back culture of Oriental, Soviet, post-Soviet, and no West. I'm all mixing. I want to show.
Are you also drawing for a painting like representation of reality, or only working with the words and ornaments?
I don't like just draw because draw. I like my work always based on cultural identity, cultural agenda of general of political immigration. But my work is always my work is based on my cultural past.
Is religion important? What do you think?
No, I don't like any religion. Religion for me is absolutely out of religion. For me, religion is like you must put in the past, like a museum of human past. My work is I am like hybridizing or Occidental, Oriental. I like Orientalize West, Occidentalize Orient. I am refugee, and I think all refugees all the hybrid, and we are all hybrid. We with one culture, other culture all together.
What means ornamental?
Ornamental, no, my culture based on ornament, pattern. We have more always visual, rich, always of color, and it's no geometry. Geometry always has been for us present of Occidental, Western, like buildings, For me, geometry always. I am. It's is as a culture. I am here, but my culture is it's come from carpet, from pattern, from all, and this is my past.
What is schizopoetry?
Schizopoetry, I use automatic poetry, and there are no rules. I mix all languages, all. I call this collage poetry. The anti-poetry. Sometimes I can. They read I poems which I use. The radio was speaking. I use newspaper next to me, added to my poems. I make collage poetry. Mm.
So if you have any questions, you are welcome.
Any-
A decision in your life to become an artist, or have you always been?
Yes, I think I always. Yes, I think I'm very happy to be an artist. I cannot be someone else because culture for me is cultural. Being artist, part of this cultural mobilization world is for me is I consider more stronger aspect of global dialogue. Especially now, I think it's what happened in capitalism. Yes, clear, but what happened now in the world, and it's very